When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just...
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Done.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
Good morning. First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Welcome to the Emmy-nominated Doni Glover Show, brought to you live from the city of Baltimore. We broadcast Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and STEM City USA. Today, we will be talking with a gentleman whom I refer to as the Godfather of Harlem, but he's so much more than that. He's my dear friend and mentor, Mr. Walter Edwards. Oh, great one. How are you today? Oh, what happened? We got some volume. Can't hear you. Is the mic on? I guess we should have checked it first. Oh, I was so excited. I tell you what, I have a solution for that. Answer your phone and we'll use the volume from here. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Okay, Mr. Walter Edwards, how are you?
Oh, blessed this morning, brother. To see you and to talk with you and to be on Black USA News.
Well, so we got some feedback.
It's probably because we own both the telephone and so I don't know what's happening.
So click mute on your microphone.
Okay.
And that didn't do it.
Yes, it did.
Okay. All right. So I do hear the feedback. You know, them three-letter people must be on us today.
They always do. It seems like when we get on.
So this is what I want you to do. I want you to go out and come back in.
You got it. I'll do that.
All right. We're gonna get this going. We've been here before. We know how these things happen. Usually when we bring legends on, it's happened with Billy Murphy. It's happened with Carl Snowden. When we bring on those profound voices, we often find that some kind of way we get interference, interruption, but you can't stop greatness. What's going to be is going to be, no matter what they try. So Anyway, Mr. Walter Edwards has been developing in New York City for quite some time, making a difference. One of the establishments he was responsible for, at least in part, was the Mist on 116th Street, and we were able to have a Black Wall Street there one time. Extemporaneously, we had chosen Amy Ruth's, and Amy Ruth's had some challenges. They didn't have enough space to accommodate the crowd that we had, so we ended up moving to the Mist, and at the time it was run by Mr. Edwards and Company. So he's been a part of developing not just in New York City, but abroad, as well as other cities, including Baltimore. And to walk down 125th Street with Mr. Walter, I mean, you talk about celebrities. Hey, Mr. Walter. That's the kind of personality he is. So we're waiting to reconnect, see how we can work that. Maybe I'll try from a different phone or computer. But nonetheless, we need mentors like that. One of the things that Mr. Walter and let me just acknowledge Tajmir Gathers, also Zavilla Jackson and Regina Smith from the Harlem Business Alliance. One of the things that we collectively worked on was the Black Business Empowerment Commission. So let's try it again, see how we go this time. Testing, testing. No audio. It's nothing but the devil. So we're going to try the phone again. Nothing but the devil. The devil is a liar and a thief.
Okay, you got me.
Okay, it sounds good.
So far, I'm going to set that's for me.
Okay.
Okay.
So how have you been? What have you been up to?
Brother, I've been trying to get myself together, that's all. You know, welcome in the new year. Had the 86th birthday, so I'm blessed.
Happy belated birthday. 86 years young.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Doni?
Yeah, it's the 3-letter people.
Yeah, I know all about it. Let me see something here.
Can you try that link on your phone, on your cell phone?
Yes, I can. I'll try that.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the things that we have found is that nothing beats persistence. One of my favorite quotes is how you can't beat a person who doesn't quit. You ever try to fight somebody who don't quit? There was a kid down the street I grew up with, Ed. Ed and I would fight. This is when we moved back from East Baltimore to West Baltimore. I guess I was about 8 or 9 years old. Me and Ed would fight for hours. Literally, the sun went down. Every day. Seemed like every day. Every day. And then we're the best of friends. I mean, every day. But something happens when you fight somebody that much. What seemed like hate, you come to know that person's metal. And I don't mean M-E-T-A-L. I mean M-E-T-T-L-E. You come to find out what a person is made of. And I tell you, if I had to go into a bar fight, and I don't have to go into a bar fight, neither do you. But Ed is the kind of person I would take with me because he ain't quitting. And I ain't quitting. We don't quit. And that's maybe a part of the lessons we learned in inner city Baltimore, East Baltimore and West Baltimore. Ain't no quitting. You wrote a check that your butt can't cash. Well, you're going to stay there until you cash it because that's Baltimore. And so on that note, big ups to the Ravens. Big ups to Lamar. I mean, Lamar, Dion. Usually we think of leaders, we think of political leaders. Going back in the day, Marion Barry, Perrin J. Mitchell. But these days, it seems as though some of our athletes have really stepped up to the plate. Lamar Jackson negotiated his own deal, his own contract to his own liking. He did not listen to the naysayers, the other people. He followed his gut. And even I was like, come on, Lamar, what you doing? Shorty, you blowing the money. And he didn't. He negotiated his own deal. He believed in himself. How many of us believe in ourselves like that? He believed in himself. Y'all remember? He was negotiating those contracts, and it wasn't going pretty. Let's try it now. Okay, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, there we go.
You got magic.
They can't stop this. And that's what I was saying. You can't stop a person who won't quit.
Well, you don't quit. That I know. You're my brother.
What did we accomplish with the Black Business Empowerment Commission, in your estimation?
Well, we was able to get to Congressional Black Caucus and get a reply from them. That's one thing that most people don't get. We didn't get the amount of monies that we was seeking, but they know that we are out here, requesting those kinds of things from them, which I don't think enough of us do.
Now, I know you're Muslim, but I know you also know some things in the Bible. One that says, you have not because you ask not. Knock, and the door shall open. Seek, and ye shall find. Ask, and it shall be given. In other words, we serve a God of abundance. And I find, Mr. Walter, that so often our people, we act like we serve a God of scarcity.
Well, I agree, and I think that we was given another God, during slavery and all, when they put that Michelangelo God up in front of us, and so we think that we have to get permission from that God for everything, and that's not the God, the God of spirit, the God of soul is who we serve.
I was talking with a gentleman a couple of weeks ago. He's about 10 years my senior. And I had to get up from the table because, Mr. Walter, considering the work that you have done and the little bit of work that I've done, the little bit of time I've seen on this planet, I could not hear this. I could not listen to this black man berate black people another second. He said, we don't stick together. He said, we don't support each other. He said every negative thing. And I really wanted to ask him, black man, have you ever traveled to see other people? Have you been like to Europe or Asia or Africa? I think a lot of times, Mr. Walter, we look at ourselves as a people and we think that the whole world understands our limited experience. We are 13% of the population. We have dominated any and every industry that we've gotten into. How come we don't think more highly of ourselves?
You hit it when you say ourselves, because I think the gentleman was reflecting on himself. He wasn't reflecting on the people. As you say, if you travel, you see so much. I tell people about the statue that the last president or the former president of Senegal had erected there. That's larger than the Statue of Liberty, and there's a room in there that has all our original countries, all our original names and everything that I just love. So that's education. Give me a little strength. So if you don't see things like that, you don't believe that those things can happen. And so that slave mentality is still on us. And my teacher told me what took 300 years to instill in us, we're not going to get rid of it in 125. So we're still working on divorcing ourselves from that mentality.
So it's a process.
It is. And we just have to keep working on it. And you being able to reach all the people that you have grown to be able to reach. And I I commend you, brother, for it. You know, I admire you that because the media is so important. The media color us as they want us to be, and without your media and others like you, we'll be colored any old kind of way. But you are putting us out here in a positive light, and so everybody that can take the time to watch your podcast, you know that there's others out here struggling, not just them. We are struggling together, even though we haven't bonded together yet, but we are struggling.
You have taught me more about who our friends are. This society tries to tell us that nobody is our friend, that if it's not the white man being our friend, then we have no friends. But people like you have always reminded me that I define who my friends are. And I define my friends as people who have my best interests at heart. Like you, you've always had my best interests at heart. You've come to Baltimore from New York City on multiple occasions to make sure that your friends, the people you love here, are taken care of. But you've also done that across the world. What is the secret behind Walter Edwards?
Well, I love myself, and I don't project myself as being any more than me. And so, therefore, I can get to know people because I'm not going to outspeak them. I'm not going to try to outdress them. My knowledge is nowhere near equated to theirs. So I just be me. And so, therefore, people graduate, graduate towards me as they see me. And I think that that's the key to my success.
But you also pass the ball. I mean, there are a lot of people who have been in rooms like you have been in, but they come out of these rooms more like gatekeepers as opposed to someone who opens the door. I've seen you open the door. I've walked down 125th Street with you, and I've seen people, hey, Mr. Walter, hey, Mr. Edwards, hey, all the way down 124th Street. They big up in Mr. Walter Edwards.
Well, you know, it's a love thing. You know, when you help people instead of bringing them down, I don't see a wino out there. I don't see a drug addict out there that I don't say by the grace of Allah there go I. Okay, and it's somebody's child, so I speak to them as if they're human, you know, and they respond that way, and that's all it is. To just show them a little respect, because you know my teacher told me that when I look out there and see those people, I'm looking at a defeated genius. They're upset because they was never able to be able to practice their genius. They have been held back, you know, and those who are going to jail, I was told they are our revolutionary leaders, you know, because they are evolving. They're not revolving with what people are trying to make them. That's why they're in jail. They are fighting it, you know. So, you know, when you look at it that way, you realize that these are people like yourself with the same fight and all. And you respect them and they respect you.
What is your hope for our people?
Well, yeah, you know, the hope for our people is that we understand that in the holy books, I don't care which one you read, they say who's first will be last and who's last will be first. Well, if we are last, then we gonna got to look forward to being first, you know. So let's keep walking that path because somewhere we are going to be first, and we better know what to do when we get there.
Is that why you study Al Islam?
No, I studied Al Islam because when I was young, I would ask questions of theologians, and they would tell me I was too young to understand, and so forth and so on. And then one day, somebody handed me a Quran, and I read it, and I found all the answers that I had been asked the questions of. And so that just inured me to that faith. And I'll practice, Baptist, Catholicism. I've studied a little bit all of them as I move around. And that's what I was drawn to.
Tell me that story of what that old lady told you about giving people steak who are used to hot dogs.
You remember that? Yeah, I was telling the old lady about how everybody around me was being treated so good that I done moved them up, been successful, putting them in homes and everything, and they still wasn't acting right. And she just said to me, son, when a person is accustomed to pork chops and you give them steak and they can't digest it, maybe you better go back and give them pork chops. So that's what it was. That you can't take people and make them be someplace that they don't know how to be. Keep them in their environment and let them flourish from there.
Mr. Walter, you raised yourself?
More or less.
When you
With the
first
help of other people around me. I met nice people, good people when I was young, and they taught me so much.
you've been on your own since you were what, 12?
10
In New York City?
in New York City,
How'd you survive?
by the grace of Allah. But just again being respectful of things and people. Everything have to be respected. And sometimes we forget that. A dog have to be respected because if you don't respect that dog, he gonna bite you. So wherever I went, I respected everyone and everything, and I never put a frown on my face, even though I was doing bad and be hungry. But people can see, and there was always someone would come to my aid. Don't care where I was and what kind of trouble I might have been facing. So I was always blessed that way.
And you've tried to treat people similarly now that the tables are turned, or as the tables turn.
Well, I have tried, and there are certain instances that I had to pull away because I learned the lesson that God has a plan for everybody. Okay, and I might be getting in the way of their test to meet the plan that God has for them. And so I had to back up from trying to do certain things for people and wait and see what God has in store for them. But I'm there if they need me.
How did you come to love construction?
Well, as a child, a little child in the South on the farm, I was digging holes all the time. They was telling me that I was getting ready to get the animals hurt, because the tunnels that I'd be digging and all would cave in. The animals didn't know that I didn't act like a mole and digging holes all over and all. So, that alone and just seeing the community building homes together, because we would come together down there. If somebody was burned out or something, everybody got together and built them a new house. We would work together. And so yeah, I just had an affinity for it. And it's a good thing that you can sit and sleep in something that you built. It's not something that someone else built. So you can't complain about it if you built it. You can learn from it, but don't complain. You complain about what other folks do.
How did you get involved with the Harlem Business Alliance?
A good friend of mine was going in as it was started, and they was asking him to be something that he was not accustomed to being. And he said, "Listen, I need somebody to watch my back here, because I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm at. You got to come in and watch my back." I said, "Man, we don't join organization." He says, "Yeah, yes, I know, but I'm in this. You got to come and watch my back." And that's how I got involved in watching his back.
You know, Mr. Walter, it's always fun talking with you because I think that I put myself in a quagmire too, and I realize you've seen a lot more quagmires than I have.
Well, brother, it's all where Allah intend for you to be, and He'll bring you out of it. So don't worry about it. Keep on stepping.
Keep on
You know,
stepping.
keep the smile on your face because everyone looking for you to cry and frown. You know, and when you don't do that, you kill their spirit. Okay.
You know, I can't help but pay attention to what's going on in the Gaza Strip. Have you been seeing that on the news?
You know, everybody see it, but very few understand it. You know,
21,000 Palestinians have been killed. They're looking for roughly 120, 130 Israeli hostages that were snatched on October the 7th. But it's always interesting as I listen to the news story, who's telling the story? Because
yeah,
one source will tell you what seems like a logical story, a fair and balanced story. But when this other group tells a story, they are the victim. Somebody is out to get them. They've done no wrong. And I'm saying to myself, these people have been living here for hundreds of years. And then you just come and you tell them they got to go because this book says this is their land. And then South Africa, of all places, South Africa has condemned Israel. And they say it's because Israel helped finance the war against the ANC in South Africa. And then I look at this thing called BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And there's Israel and South Africa in this group called BRICS. And then I look at the United States. I look at Joe Biden. I look at Donald Trump. I look at Hunter Biden. All these people corrupt. And then they want our children to go over there and fight. I'm not sending my children to fight for somebody else's foolishness because I don't find it too damn patriotic. I find it against common sense. If that's the fight you want to fight, then you go over there and fight them people. And as a matter of fact, I like to see a head-up fight. I don't like to see 20 against 1. I like to see you one-on-one, mano a mano.
everything you say is true, brother. But
maybe it would reduce some of the cowardly acts that may have happened on both sides. But you're not going to tell me that this one side did all of these dirty things and you did nothing dirty. I'm not buying that.
well, you know, Donnie, there's something that I'll take you back to, and I will tell you that he who has the power to name things are the one that are in control of things. Okay, so I can be the very bad person, but I look and name you the bad person, and so therefore now you become the bad person, and no one looks at me as the bad person that I am. So this is a lot of what you see going on in the world today. And you know, you're not old enough to remember Roosevelt and Truman them when they got together and settled the European Jews into to Israel. And at that time, the Muslims and the Jews all was getting along together. Pretty much, they had their little squabbles, but it wasn't nothing too terrible. And actually, the European Jews did not want to come to Israel. They wanted to come to
Africa.
Argentina and I'm trying to think of the country where Idi Amin was.
Uganda.
Uganda was the one place they wanted to go. And if you go around Lake Victoria today, they control the commerce around Lake Victoria. and you have a bunch of them in Argentina. But the Europeans and Americans got together and said that they was going to settle them there, and they became Jews. And I ask people this question: if they use that as they're giving them their rightful place, I became a Muslim. Is Saudi Arabia my home place? I better not go to Saudi Arabia and tell them that I belong there and all. Okay, so it's those kinds of things that go on that we have nothing to do with, but we pay for it. Like you say, our children die for it. And you see even in Israel today, you have folks there, Israelites, that telling the government that they don't want their people dying for it. So it's a struggle. And I, for one, have always said that everything should be negotiable. Why are you fighting other than to cover up something that you're doing elsewhere? Okay, so you're keeping the people's attention on something there while you're doing something else that they can't follow because you got their attention there. So there's something else going on in the world that we are not seeing because of all this that is going on in Israel.
Well, one of the things that I'm aware of is that Suez Canal. And when they built that Suez Canal, my understanding is they want to build another canal, and this canal will go straight through the Gaza Strip. And it would primarily benefit Israel because then these ships wouldn't have to go all around Africa, which takes several days and costs more money. They want to go straight through the Gaza Strip, and this would primarily benefit Israel, then the United States, then the United Kingdom.
I've heard that story, and I see Egypt sitting there keeping the back door closed to the brothers and sisters that are caught up in this thing when they should be letting them out into Egypt and taking care of them from over there. So it's a confused situation, brother. And again, as I stated when I came on, that you being the media that can broadcast these things, and we can discuss it as we are doing now, is good because other medias just paint a picture and we have to accept it. And they are all over the place, and there's one or two families controlling the media, so they tell their story as they want you to believe it, and they don't even believe it themselves. But it's a story that they put out. So keep on fighting, brother, and presenting your program and keep growing it, so that you can give your picture, our picture, to our people.
Well, I'm just carrying on the work that others have put in. I think about, what was that brother out in Texas that we recently lost? He was a part of the commission.
Oh, sure, boy, you got me now. Thomas. Yeah.
Thomas Muhammad.
Yes.
When I think of the people that we met through COVID by way of the computer, I am reminded that we have soldiers all over the world. And no matter what these people try, the picture they try to paint, because soon they're going to be calling us terrorists.
They're doing it already, brother. We just don't hear them. We hear them when they bring the guns for us. But I will say this to you. I was never felt any better than when those brothers went to Stone Mountain with their weapons and everything and dared the Ku Klux Klan and them to come up there. And haven't heard any more about them coming tearing up places with all the equipment and everything because those brothers showed up. And I'm told that the leader of that group went to jail, but they're still out there. And we're being saved by people like that when we don't even know it. And our people don't know it and probably want to give them up if they get to know them. So there's things that happen because we, and you, I can say this to the public, introduce people that you think have something to offer to each other. You do that. You met me and you introduced me to somebody. You introduce somebody else to the next person. And so therefore that's why we was talking to the one in Texas and all, because that's what we was doing, connecting one another. We connect with Africa. All right. And I think I'll be over there next month, so I'll let you know how that's going. And this is the great thing. So let's keep connecting because we have some beautiful people with beautiful minds and loving hearts, and we'll give all that they have. But we are being kept apart by those who are put in our midst to stir the pot so that we can't see. My teacher told me one day, he said, if you in the woods and you come up on a pond and it's peaceful, so you can look in that pond and see everything around you, the sky, the birds, everything in that pond. Saying you throw a pebble in to create the disturbance, the ripples. You can't see anything, but it's still there. We have to remember that our people are still here fighting, even though we don't see them, because of that ripple that has been created between us. All right. So let's keep plugging, and I don't have to say that direct to you. I'm saying it to whomever is watching the program. Let's keep plugging and putting our best forward.
Why do you care?
Listen, I'm human. Humans supposed to care. You know, somebody said something a couple of days ago about how we are carrying on and all. And I said, we forget that we are animals like the rest of the animals. Okay? But the rest of the animals know their place. But because we are the superior being, we want to go everywhere and do everything. But other animals stay in their place. The only time you see them coming together is when there's trouble in the forest. They'll run together then. Other than that, they stick to their own. And we don't understand that. We're always reaching this to be with somebody else. Whether we know them or not, we want to be with them. No, be with your own. Stick with your own.
If
Okay.
I'm not mistaken, now you're a Capricorn. You just had a birthday. Your fellow Capricorn, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said that we are the moral conscience of America.
Yes. Yes.
And I first heard that maybe 25 years ago, and I've pondered it many times. What did he mean that we are the moral conscience of America? And I can tell you the first instance where it dawned on me how significant a quote that was. It was about a month and a half ago that I saw that the Russians and the Chinese were on the moon digging up samples of the moon. And it
Real
came
estate
to me,
deal, brother.
why are you digging up the moon, son?
Real estate deal. It's
It's not
all
real
real
estate.
estate.
That's the moon. It's the moon. Why are you digging in the moon?
Real estate deal. They're claiming part of it. That's all that is. Okay.
But you can't dig up
Real
the moon.
estate.
Tell them go dig up the sun. Let me see them go dig up the sun.
It's too hot. But, going back to Martin and the moral conscience is when we look back at our parents and we say, oh, they're looking. I know I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, remember, if you believe everything started with us in Africa, you come out of darkness into light. Okay? Everything, so that's why our day starts at nighttime for us as Muslims. Okay? At sundown is our day. Our new day began because we come out of darkness into light. Okay? Everything grows in darkness. You know, it exposes itself in light and open up. And so I believe that Martin was speaking of how they look at us, and they're conscious or who taught them what they know was there. We are their conscience. We grew everything here. We showed them how to live here after the Indians showed them how to eat. We taught them agriculture and everything. So they look at us, yes, we are their moral conscience. And they hate us for that because it don't make them feel superior when they look at us. I'm watching the football games now. And I remember when they say that we couldn't be a quarterback. But the best quarterbacks in the world out there now are us. So every time that they let us be ourselves anywhere, we excel. That's what our children have to realize, that we have it within us to excel with anything, anywhere. And so when they look at us, that's what they see. That's what Martin was speaking about, the moral conscience. Okay?
I
So,
wanted to thank you for introducing me to now Mayor Eric B. Adams. Years
yes,
ago, when you first introduced me to him, why were you such a fan?
well, it wasn't that I was such a fan, but I seen someone who had came along somewhat of the path that I had came along. And he was speaking volumes and carrying his people with him. And so how else could I be but a fan of his if he's doing things for us? Okay, he had came to my development and looked at it and said, wow, this is what I want for all of New York, what you've done here, you know? But of course, once he got into position, he couldn't do all the things that he wanted to do. So, you know, some of us are holding it against him that he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. But I don't know anybody, Trump or any of them, that has done everything that you want them to do. You know, so we just have to realize that's what's for us. We are going to get. You know, let's keep working. Let's keep the faith, baby, as Adam Clayton Powell used to say. You know, uh, and keep believing in the God that created us, and that part of us that He put in that part of Him that He put in us. Okay, so remember we are in His image. So there's got to be a piece of him in us. All right. So let's keep it the faith, baby, as they say, and keep it rolling, brother. And you keep putting the truth out. We have to do it. Okay.
Tell me that story you told me about Adam Clayton Powell.
Well, Adam, Adam. Now I told you a couple about Adams. Which one are you speaking
Well,
about?
the one where he wanted the men to it was one man who wasn't doing what he was what he could have been doing, but Mr. Powell, Congressman Powell, wanted the other men to help him along the way, something like that.
Well, I think I know the one that you're talking about. There was a situation where the police was closing down our moneymakers. Remember, and so many of us forget that the numbers was our bank. The after hour joints was our social clubs where we met and talked over things also. It wasn't just partying. And the police was closing everything down. And so we went to the then congressman, which he would come to town 2 o'clock in the morning and meet with the so-called streeters. And we told him what was going on and that he had to help us. And he says, you know what's wrong? He said, you guys are not respecting your neighbors. So you come into an apartment building and you open up an after hour joint and you just carry on, create all kind of noise, but yet there's 20, 30 families living in that building, raising their children and all, and they can't even get sleep at night because this is the time y'all partying can on. Cars triple parked, corn flowing, everything, saying you're disrespecting them. Say if you respect them, then I will help you. He said, but if you don't respect them, I can't help you. So we said, okay, we'll do. He said, well, there's one other thing you have to do for me. I said, oh God, what is it now? He says, listen, I have to take care of all of my constituents. And the winos are my constituents. And if they don't have their wine, they're going to be creating trouble in the community. You guys are going to have to provide them with the wine so that they'll be quiet. And I have never forgotten that. You know, you have to take care of everybody. Everybody is the constituents. And I don't think that it's that many politicians today that look at everyone and see them as their constituent. They pick and choose whom they want as their constituent. So
I tell you
that's
one
the story,
politician
brother.
you like, she a Capricorn too. Her name's Sheila Dixon. You still support her?
Oh, oh man, to the grave, to the grave. If they
Why you
let
like
her be, he
why you
said
like Sheila?
Baltimore be,
Why you like Sheila Dixon?
because she delivered whatever she says she's going to do. That's the one thing that I can tell you right off the bat. If she says she's going to do something, she'll do it.
What about this cat Donald Trump? I thought they would lock him up. If he were a black man, wouldn't they have him locked up by now?
Well, you know, you have seen many street hustlers that you thought should have been in jail, and they grab them and they get away and all. That's what you're looking at with Donald Trump. He's a streeter. And he's playing the squares, as we used to call them, right? So they don't know what to do with him. But I say, just get ready because he's gonna have a straight jacket on. You know, he's going nut as a fruitcake because he's not gonna be able to stand not being who he think he should be. And he's exposing himself all the time and letting you know he want to be a dictator. And that cannot happen in this country.
Do you think he inspires racism among young white people?
I think that he brings it out of those that it's in. That's what I see happening. He gives them a door, a platform to practice what they believe, and it's
You
all
know,
right.
I also see how far we have come because I see more and more white people saying how much a fool he is.
Yes, we see those who say that, but not enough of them.
Not enough.
It shows you what they are made of, okay? Because he talk about their mama, their wives, and everything else, and they go and kiss him. You know, you and I would be out there, you know, to the death if he did that to us, right? So it just go to show you what they're dealing with. People that have something in them, and they just bow to something that permit them to be whom they are.
Now, lately, he's been showing some signs of dementia. He said that Nikki Haley, he tried to send her 10,000 troops when the correct person was Nancy Pelosi. Nikki Haley
Yes.
wasn't even in office. He's made some statements to show that he's losing it.
Well, that's why I told you that you'll see him in a straitjacket. I don't think you'll see him in jail.
But yet all
He'll
of these
be
people like in Iowa, well, little Iowa, but I thought these were smart white people. How can you want this man to be a symbol for this country when it shows the rest of the world how buck wild, stupid, crazy that we are, or at least they are, but we get lumped in with them?
well. Permit me to say this, brother. If I had millions and I came along and gave you a couple millions and you never had it before, and I told you now I want you to tell all your people that I'm this, I'm that, and the other, and they should follow me, what are you going to do? Okay?
I'm gonna have to give you your money back.
That's you, but you know that those other
or
folks
I'm
are
gonna have
not
to
doing
cut you
that.
off and play dumb because you and others other elders have taught me all money ain't good money.
That's right. But I'm talking to you in the general now.
Nope, you
N-
train
n-
me to walk away from bad money. You train me that you can take that money if you want, but there's a price you will have to pay.
Yeah, I totally agree, and what I'm saying to you, my brother, is that I'm talking to you as the average black person. I'm not talking to you as Donnie, as we know. Okay, I'm talking to what happens every day when you look around and see even us being misled by people that we are surprised is doing that to us. But they done got in the door and getting some money, and they mislead us. It happens every day, and that's all that I'm telling you. That enough money is out there, and what they find out about these folks also, their life and what they are doing that they are ashamed of, and they start using that against them. It's a control mechanism, and you are blessed. I am blessed that we are strong enough to stand up and not go for it. But boy, there's so many to go for it. It's unbelievable.
When I think about the work that we did with the Black Business Empowerment Commission, I remember the day asking you, how come we haven't been able to pull in any of these young black superstars, these young black rappers? And I even remember putting a young a young media mogul on the phone, and that young man could not understand the question that I was putting to him. But now that I look back and I see TD Jakes out there acting the plum fool with some of these very same young people, I'm reminded that, again, all money ain't good money. And I think about when they say, when a rich man comes to church, they set him on the front row. But when a wino comes to church, they put him on the back row.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you a little story about that with your permission.
Yes, sir.
When I was a little boy in the South, when the bad weather come, they'd put up the quilt and start quilting, put up the frame. And we, the little kids, had to hand up the scraps, the cotton and the materials that they're making the quilts of, right? And we up underneath there, and the women sitting around, they making the quilt. And the women would start talking some garbage. And there was one woman, she'd get up and say, uh-uh, my husband wouldn't permit me to sit here and talk this kind of talk. I had to get up and get out of here. And when I found out that she was the wife of the town fool, I couldn't believe it. So I had to get respect for that fool then, that he wasn't as big a fool as he was attending to be. If his wife was that respectful of his demand, that she wasn't going to sit there and talk that talk. She didn't let them women know. She got on up and out. So it's still the same kind of thing going on. Who respect whom and who's teaching what. And they're exposed doing all this.
Mr. Walter, I walked down 125th Street with you, and people would call you from everywhere. Mr. Walter, Mr. Walter. I was like, wow.
Well, I'm not out there every day, so don't need to be, don't want to be. I have work to do. You can't do work out there walking through the street. You know, you have to get in the think of office and think things out and start writing some of it down so you know what to do and to leave something behind also for others to understand what you was doing. You know.
Final question, Mr. Walter, and thank you for taking the time to spend an hour with us to edify us. For me, it's like a grand opening to 2024. I get a chance to get my bearings straight, get a word from leadership. What is your prayer?
Oh, brother, that I make paradise and that my children make paradise and all those around me make paradise. That we meet again, in the great paradise. That's all. That's my prayer.
Good deal. Any final thoughts?
Brother, yes, you keep up the work that you're doing and pray that there's other young that are looking at you and that you inspire them to follow in your footsteps, because we need more and more every day to get out here and spread the word, and those who will stand up and tell the truth. If it means they have to die, they tell the truth. And that's what we need. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
thank you. May Allah continue to bless you and yours.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Have a blessed
Good
day,
morning,
brother.
world. Yes, sir.